My boyfriend's father is forcing him into an arranged marriage just so I would be forced to break up with him and his business would get some money. And I'm honestly at a loss and I don't know what to do. As the title states, I'm in a dilemma and I'd really appreciate some help. My boyfriend and I have been together for about half a year at this point. A big worry of his at the start of the relationship was our gap in economic status. Basically, I'm of a higher level than he is. This has never ever bothered me as his lifestyle was similar to my parents when they were growing up. I wasn't born with this status either. They had to work hard for what they have. And I would never ever judge anyone based on that. My mom and dad also said that they would never judge him for that either. We quickly got over that hurdle and we have been happy with each other. His family, however, is another story. It's worth noting that I haven't even met them yet and that his dad and mom are separated but still in contact. They found out recently that we were dating because he told them I'm in a different country for a couple of months to study here, and my lifestyle was revealed as he talked about me to them. They were very against our relationship once they learned I was privileged, saying they would be too ashamed to meet me and my family. He works for his dad, and during this time, they also hit a bad spot financially, so my boyfriend had to focus on his work and his family first, which I encouraged. We talk rarely whenever he's free, and every time I am so worried because his dad does not treat me respectfully and is trying to take control of his personal life. He hasn't had a life for a month and little to no contact with his friends or immediate family besides his dad. 2 days ago, we were able to talk again, and I found out his dad is forcing him and this girl into an arranged marriage, and his reasoning behind this is for business purposes, and also to get him to stop talking to me. When I read the text message that I received detailing the situation, I was shocked and very concerned for him and the girl. She also has a boyfriend and doesn't want any of this. The families are planning to have them move in a house soon, and I'm afraid there's no way out of this. For a month or even more, he has been trying to convince his dad to accept us or to even just give him time to talk to me. I want to do something to help because all of this feels out of my control. I know it technically is, but I just feel like he's the only one trying. I've given him reassurance, of course, but the only thing I can think of is to contact his family. Again, I'm in a different country right now, so it's quite hard to just drive up to him. The time difference is just 1 hour, but I won't be back until the end of the year, so it may be too late to help them in person. I wouldn't know what to say without escalating the situation though. I don't want to leave him. I love him so much. Even if we don't end up together, he and this other girl don't deserve this, and they shouldn't be forced into this circumstance. I'm honestly at a loss and I'm not sure what to do. This is really toxic. This sounds like a plot twist straight out of Game of Thrones. I mean, this is legitimately disturbing. I can't imagine in modern day society someone's dad forcing them to get married to someone they don't even know or like. That's crazy to me. So for the boyfriend in this situation, he's got to put his foot down and say, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm getting out of this situation and you can't make me get married. The original poster goes on to explain that her boyfriend's dad is basically holding him hostage by holding it over his head that he will cut off any source of income for him and he will basically cut him out of his life. Apparently also the dad has gotten physically and verbally abusive towards him and he's basically not taking no for an answer. So in my opinion, it's time for your boyfriend to get out of there. This does not sound like a healthy or safe situation, so hopefully a solution of some kind can come forward that will allow your boyfriend to get out of this crazy situation, because forcing someone to get married to someone that they don't even know or like is craziness, and no one should feel pressured to marry someone that they don't like. I feel like my boyfriend invalidates my anxieties, and I don't know what to do. With the news of Adam Levine and Ned from the Try Guys cheating coming out, and multiple other celebrity couples, I have felt more anxious that this could happen to me. I recently shared with my boyfriend that I keep feeling anxious about this, and his response basically was that these anxieties were kind of gross, and that he is not like those guys. In addition, he talked about how the more I put thought into this type of anxiety, the more it can come between us and manifest itself into something else. But to me, the response felt rude when he labeled them as gross, and I've kind of wanted to address this to him, but I just don't know how. During this time last year, I was dating my ex that kept hidden the fact that he had a kid for about 2 months into us dating. I felt so stupid when I found out about this because it made me lose trust in him instantly. Now, I'm not comparing this to someone who gets cheated on, but it is definitely gut-wrenching to find out shocking news like this. My current boyfriend knows about what happened to me with my ex and kind of invalidates the trauma I got from this, and has even compared it to his other friends who have dealt with more trauma drama such as divorce, abuse, and other things. One of our friends from school has shared a lot about her anxieties with my boyfriend, and he always makes it seem like hers are valid, but not mine at all. Now, I'm not saying that I think my boyfriend will go out and cheat on me, but I do find his response to me sharing this anxiety quite demeaning, and I don't know how to address it with him now. It also doesn't help that he usually makes jokes about him cheating with other girls in our graduation class, yet gets salty if I make a joke about a guy at school that flirted with me. I'm honestly at such a loss and I don't know what to do. I gotta be honest, I think the fault is really with the original poster here. It is completely unreasonable to read into pop culture news and let it erode the trust between you and your partner. Don't get me wrong, your anxieties are a real thing, whether they are real or not, but at the end of the day, your anxieties are your responsibility. He literally hasn't cheated on you, and he's expressed that he would not do that. That should honestly be more than enough for you to realize that you can trust him, especially since there's no evidence that he's ever cheated on you besides you having anxiety about Adam Levine and that guy from the Try Guys. And in my opinion, there's also no winning this situation. Like in this situation, what do you expect him to say? Do you really want him to validate your feelings of anxiety that yeah, he could cheat on you like Adam Levine? Because I'm pretty sure you don't want to hear that either. And I don't completely absolve the boyfriend in this situation. It sounds like you both have things to work on, but it sounds like from what you've described that you're letting hypothetical situations dictate how your relationship is going to go. And that's really not good in my opinion. So hopefully things work out, because I think you've got a good relationship in front of you, and there's no reason to let your anxieties take away from that. My boyfriend of 3 years just disclosed to me that he has $20,000 in credit card debt, and I'm completely heartbroken. So as the title states, my boyfriend and I have been together for almost 3 years. He makes about $50,000 a year, and I make close to $100,000. He owns a home, and I have been renting for the last few years. I moved in with him 4 months ago, with the intent of getting married and moving into our own place in the next 2 years or so. This summer, we went on vacation together, which we had about a year to plan for. All I asked was that he paid for his plane ticket and 25% of the hotel. When it came time to buy the plane ticket, he told me that he couldn't go. He said that there were too many expenses that have come up and that he simply could not afford it. I was upset because we had been planning this trip for a year, and I was really only asking him to come up with $1,000. And to top it all off, there were things that were already paid for the both of us. So I ended up coming up with the $1,000 just to pay for his plane ticket as a birthday present, and his gift was the vacation. While we were there, he seemed to have no problem spending money, which was suspicious to me. What happened to all that money that he didn't have when we were first getting our plane ticket? And that is when it hit me. I realized at that point he was using a credit card. Over the month following our return from the trip, I gradually inquired about how much debt he has. He said about $4,000. I thought, wow, that sucks, but it's not insurmountable. Still though, things weren't adding up. So I told him that he needed to really sit down and look at how much debt he has, because it seems like much more than $4,000. He said he would, but he wanted to do it himself, without me around, which is understandable. Today, he told me he looked through everything, and minus the student loans, the house, and the car, he has about $20,000 in credit card debt at an average of 17% interest. And at that point when I heard this, my heart sank. In that moment, it felt like I watched all of our hopes and dreams for both of us go right out the window. Not just the fun stuff we were planning on doing, but things like getting married, having kids, moving. It all slowly started to dissolve in my brain. And it's not like I'm materialistic, but if he tightened his belt and put every cent towards paying off debt and not spending any more, he wouldn't pay off this debt until 2026. And worst of all, it seems like he doesn't care that he has $20,000 in credit card debt and instead just keeps spending the way that he is. And at this point, I'm at a loss and I really don't know what to do. I think the original poster hit the nail on the head. Her boyfriend really needs to get his act together. Having $20,000 in debt that's separate from like a housing payment or like student loans or anything like that is really irresponsible. This just means that he's spending without really thinking about it, and he's not paying anything off like he should be doing. So it's really sketchy when he says, oh, I don't have the money to buy this plane ticket, but then allows his girlfriend to buy it and then starts spending a lot of money while they're on vacation. It seems like in that moment he was very dishonest, and that's not fair for the girlfriend. $20,000 in debt is not great, but it's not totally insurmountable. But I think the question here is whether or not you want to deal with somebody who has these terrible spending habits and isn't completely honest with you about their finances. Because in my opinion, that's a big deal in a future marriage. Like, you want to know that your future partner is going to be responsible and take care of you. And if they can't even take care of themselves, then in my opinion, that's a big red flag that definitely needs to be addressed. My mom hates my girlfriend even after being in a relationship with my girlfriend for 4 years, and I'm honestly at a loss. First, some background information. My girlfriend and I met just about 4 years ago and have been in a relationship ever since then. We went through 1 year of international long-distance dating, and after ending the long-distance dating, we lived together for 2.5 years during the pandemic. She was attending grad school while I had a job, and we had a great time together. My mom is the typical fairly conservative Asian parent, the kind of parent who wants her kids to have great grades and go to Ivy League schools. She likes to make decisions based on emotion, not logic. She often criticizes me as well, pretty much for everything, from my hairstyle, my clothing choices, to my grades. There's no doubt that she loves me, but I think she is overprotective. Despite that, I think my relationship with my parents are pretty decent. So earlier this year, I quit my job in order to attend grad school in another city. My mom decided to stay with me for a few months. I also want to stay with my girlfriend, so I asked her to move to my city. Considering that my mom will also be here for a few months, I thought it should be fine to have both my girlfriend and my mom under the same roof. But boy, was I wrong. Out of politeness, my girlfriend did say hello to my mom when they first met. Since my mom doesn't really speak English, my girlfriend offered to go shopping with my mom, helped to communicate with store clerks, and paid for the groceries since my mom's credit card was not working. However, my mom told me that she was not happy with the shopping experience, and she said that my girlfriend was not standing next to her or walking along with her the entire time. Also, that my girlfriend was walking around and shopping all on her own as well. My girlfriend felt both shocked and hurt that her efforts and goodness only gained her mom's negative comments. After some similar incidents, my girlfriend begins to minimize conversations and interactions with my mom, since she really had no idea how to act. She felt that anything could make my mom unhappy, and she has to be extra cautious around her. My girlfriend is a timid introvert, and she speaks with a soft voice, so she likes to sit by herself and does her own thing most of the time. In subsequent days, my mom claimed that my girlfriend never said good morning to her and is impolite and disrespectful. She felt my girlfriend neglected her on purpose. She also criticized that my girlfriend didn't talk to her, which was not true. My girlfriend told me that she tried to initiate conversation with my mom, but my mom usually only replied with a short answer and no further. My girlfriend also offered to help in some daily things, like carrying groceries around, but my mom always said no, and my mom never proactively reached out to her. To my girlfriend, my mom didn't seem to be interested in chatting with her at all. Then eventually, my girlfriend gradually became more and more unwilling to initiate conversations. Then, for no reason, the conflict really exploded in the next few weeks. My mom said some horrible things, basically claiming that this has been the worst month of her life, and that it was a complete nightmare. She said that my girlfriend was a terrible person, and she basically claimed that I was brainwashed by my girlfriend just to think that she was nice. She then said to me, if you choose her, you lose me, and that she will only be happy if I break up with her. My mom also thought that all the things my girlfriend did were not out of goodness, and she was just faking being nice. And at this point, both my girlfriend and I felt very offended. My mom also played the victim and cried in front of me, saying that my girlfriend was bullying her all the time. I know what she said was not right, but I could not say anything to confront her or to defend my girlfriend, since her crying made me feel guilty. Now, my mom has temporarily moved into my friend's house, since she does not want to see my girlfriend anymore. And since then, the fiasco stopped. My dad is coming in a few weeks to take my mom back home. I really want to continue the relationship with my girlfriend and potentially be engaged with her. Going forward, I have no plans to live with my parents after graduation. I am an adult and I want my own life. However, I know it's going to be impossible for my girlfriend to not meet my mom again, and she is now terrified to ever see my mom again. I know that I need to firmly stand with my girlfriend because she is the person that I will spend most of my time with, but I also don't want to burn bridges with my parents. What should I do? I think first off, this is 100% your mom's fault. Your girlfriend literally gave it an honest try and did absolutely nothing wrong from what you've described, and any efforts that she did make to try and be on good terms with your mom was never good enough. It's almost like your mom was looking for reasons not to like her, and that's just not fair. Your mom sounds incredibly selfish and very toxic, and this is 100% her just acting like a child, and you do not need that in your life. I personally would not let the childish actions of your mother dissuade you from proposing to your girlfriend. If anything, let this be a clear sign that you need to set boundaries with this woman, because she's clearly clearly very toxic, and she's trying to give you some kind of ultimatum, stating that if you choose her, she's gonna leave. So I really wouldn't let this compromise your relationship with your girlfriend, because your mom has shown her true colors quite vividly, and if anything, I would let that be your guide of how you should go about your relationship with her, because based on what you've described, she's incredibly toxic, and you do not need that in your life. My girlfriend's ex tried to fight me, and I'm still trying to get over this situation. My girlfriend and I started dating back in March of 2022. We met as co-workers, and while keeping things under wrap for work, we had an amazing few months leading into the 4th of July. For necessary background information, my girlfriend grew up with divorced parents at the age of 5. I got stories and a few explanations when we started dating that she lived her teenage and college years at her mom's house, while her mom was a raging alcoholic. It apparently got somewhat better over time, and she had started to heal their relationship, so we decided to go up there for Boston for the 4th of July. Long story short, my girlfriend's mom is completely absorbed in and committed to her stepdad's family, and still has that drinking problem. The area she lives in is farmland, and everyone in that town has a southern accent, and are nothing like the people I grew up around. The first few days are nice. The area is pretty, and her mom was extremely accommodating, throwing money at everything. It was all great aside from when we first arrived, when I saw a bunch of my girlfriend's old pictures of her and her friends on the wall, and one featured her ex from college. I politely asked for her to take it down because I wasn't comfortable with it, and she understood and was a little embarrassed. Fast forward to the 3rd. To celebrate her stepson's engagement and the new pool area, my girlfriend's mom had a big party with live music and food. A lot of farmers and the locals attended the event, which I wasn't comfortable with but didn't really care too much about. And lo and behold, amongst her family's friends, the same ex-boyfriend from the photo in my girlfriend's room shows up. My girlfriend was instantly on edge and was embarrassed because he wasn't invited. I was extremely uncomfortable and decided to avoid him. She asked her mom twice to kick him out during the day, but her mom was more invested in her party and the new pool area, so she didn't do anything. I figured, what the heck, he hasn't done anything to me, so I just went about my day. Multiple times while I was away from my girlfriend, he came up to her all buddy-buddy and would try to touch her and engage in conversation. She would always say nothing and tell him to leave her be. The night rolls in and the ex is still there and he's completely wasted. The final straw occurred when I was bringing a drink to my girlfriend who was speaking with her mom when the ex-boyfriend came up. He tried to put his arm around her and my girlfriend said loudly to leave her alone. Her mom didn't care, so I came up and explained to her mom that if she didn't do something then, I would have to get involved. Her mom was like, "Okay, you don't have to be upset," and went on her way. She walked up to the ex-boyfriend and his friend, smiled and had a pleasant short talk I couldn't hear. The ex and his friend, who is my girlfriend's good friend also, go up to the bar and it's clear that they aren't leaving. I knew that was it, so with my legs shaking, I go up to the ex's friend at the bar and tell him that he needs to take his friend home right now. He explains that he's trying, and I reply that it's unacceptable. They gotta leave right now. The ex overhears it and gets really upset. He says, "Who even are you?" And he moves forward to try and take a swing at me. But as he tries to swing, the friend gets him in a headlock and drags him out. The ex is yelling, "Nice to meet you," and a couple other things as he's dragged past my girlfriend and her mom. Her mom finally decides to get upset and chases them out yelling at him. My girlfriend was mortified and was stressed and full of adrenaline. I was surrounded by people who were nasty, and even amongst her family. I was the only person to defend my girlfriend's honor. I was awake all night and called my dad the next morning crying in a soy field. When I talked with my girlfriend, she sobbed, and we decided to drive 6 hours home the morning of the 4th. It took me about a month to not actively be upset about it anymore, but the feelings of insecurity and anger take over when I feel depressed. I think of them together in the past, and although he cheated on her and she dumped him for it, I can't help but think of them together and equate her love and affection to me as less than it was before. I am now cursed to mull over this event forever, and I just want to be able to love my girlfriend without thinking about him anymore. How on earth do I move past this? What should I do? I think the original poster is just being too hard on himself. I mean, he did stand up for his girlfriend and told this guy to get lost. Like, he did everything right. He also didn't swing back at this guy. He told them to leave, and eventually, with the help of this friend, they got out of there. And sure, it probably wasn't in the cool way that you were hoping it would go down, and you were scared. I mean, anyone would be in that situation, but you did what you could to protect your girlfriend. This guy was being a creep. He was being a complete weirdo, and despite your girlfriend telling him to get lost and to go away, he wasn't getting the hint. So I just wouldn't be so hard on yourself. The best outcome without any violence happened, and I would classify that personally as a win. It would have been a disaster to get in a fight with this guy in front of all those people who are probably family friends of his. That would have been a nightmare, and you would still be dealing with it to this day. So personally, I just wouldn't be so hard on yourself. The best option did play out, and at the end of the day, this guy got away from your girlfriend. So if anything, I think it's time to set some clear boundaries with her family that no, this ex is not invited to any future events. Otherwise, there's just going to be trouble. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. To finish listening to all the stories, use the playlist at the top of the description. And the next time you live stream, use the cream of the crop music. Search Cream of the Stream on Spotify or whatever platform you use for copyright-free music to use for your next stream.